Greetings and salutations, and welcome back once again, straight after the last episode, to Republican bayonets on the Rhine with the Battle of Valmy. So, without further ado, let's see what's happened. The French will have accepted my termination bid, and so the battle has officially ended in a French major victory. So there is Kellerman with the army at the centre. And there is... so there's Dumouriez. So if we have a look-see at the overall situation, my Austrians were still coming up and deploying. The Prussians were all but battered and exhausted. If we look at the French, however, they're fresh, essentially. They're fairly fresh. Despinres, Cressier, they're fairly battered, but not entirely. 9th Grenadier Battalion is about maybe 60% strength. The Provence Cap is probably at about 50%. They're pretty battered. The Moselles are not. They're fine. They're pretty poor shape. What about up here? Yeesh, horse guns. Lots of bloody horse guns. The Dauphine Line Regiment. Wow, I really didn't do that much damage in places, did I? Eesh. National Guard there, it's about 80%. 60% strength. So, like me, most of his losses are fairly spread all over the place. That's the reserve division of the advance guard. So, who is your boss? So, Kellerman. So, let's have a look-see. You have the advanced guard of the Nord. And got a Polish officer there. The Vendée National Guard. General Blanchard and his brigade. All things considered, his line has survived remarkably intact. Mostly because of those pesky skirmishers. Some units are truly... this unit is probably one of the worst hit, at 52, having lost 52% of its men. You've lost maybe 35%. And they're under Delamarche. Over here we got the Royal Dauphine Chasseur. And then the 14th Chasseur Battalion. 1st Converged Grenadiers. Who's this? Dillon. Rosseres. Lengrede. Anonymous. Sorbert. Laveneur. Stengel. Ugh, the fact that he had just fresh forces arriving. He had an entire new... what? An entirely new division, by the looks of it. Right division of the Army of the North. More guns, a lot more guns. And then yet more cavalry. So, yeah. Oh, and then, just to top it off, another division arriving. Yeah, my army is not in the shape to take that on. So, let's do an overview. Where did I go wrong, I think? I think my biggest mistake was early on. One of my biggest mistakes was early on. He really managed to deceive me on how much he had in front of me. I had no idea. Because his cavalry was constantly darting around in the fog. So it looked like it was more. I think my second mistake, probably, was waiting for more Prussians to arrive. I should have probably just gone early to try and take up here. I take up here early. It does give me at least a few options. What other mistakes did I make? Big mistakes. I think I just overall fell into the same trap as Frederick the Great during um, the Battle of Kolin, of a frontal assault on a ridge. And while it's not a steep ridge, it is still a ridge. And so the guns were just tearing me apart as I advanced. And say what you will about a battery of 6 4-pounders, they still hurt. Or in this case, surprisingly, mostly 4-pounders, but they did have a lot of 8s as well. Lots of 8s. Those were the ones that were probably tearing me up badly, the 8s. Because they are heavier than anything I have on the field. The biggest thing I have on the field are some 12s. But I know he also has 12s somewhere. Maybe not with this lot. Most of his heavy artillery is 8s by the looks of it. 4s, and there he has some 12s, some 8s, some 8s, and then some 8s. So yeah, he had a lot of 8-pounders. But all things considered, given the terrain and everything, I'm actually fairly happy with my performance. He's lost about 6,000 men. He lost about 7,000 men to my just under 10,000, roughly. But I've lost 31 guns. He did lose 9 leaders, though, to my 1. For example, he had General Beervont killed over here. General Pulley was killed here. The Duke of Chartres was wounded over there. A Colonel Anonymous was wounded there. General de Brigade Hangast was wounded up there. And a Colonel Anonymous was wounded down here. I managed to, however, get probably the most important officer wounded in the form of Crown Prince Frederick Wilhelm. So, we'll wonder how that's going to affect the future. Ooh. Still, there he. I knew he had 12s. Those were the suckers that were really putting the pain on me. Still, again, I can't complain too much. So, could it Could I have done a lot better? Hell yes. Could I have done a hell of a lot worse? Yes. And I don't think so. At this point, the Duke of Brunswick has essentially said, we're going to call it quits and start withdrawing. And even the Austrians will probably agree with him. There's just not enough Austrians to really make much of a difference. There's, what, 10,000 of them? Not a lot. So, because what is the numbers now at the moment? We got 45,000 French, 46,000 to my 37,000. So, yeah. So the battle lasted all day, pretty much. It did last a good... Ooh, what time did it start? About 6 a.m., if I remember. So it's been going from 6 a.m. to about 3:30 p.m., give or take. So it was a hard-fought battle all day. And, all things considered, it could have been a hell of a lot worse. But I hope you have enjoyed the series. It was certainly an eye-opening for me, especially fighting these early Revolutionary War armies. Part of me underestimated the army that was here, because a lot of it is the Royal Army. I was expecting to face the French army from, say, Neerwinden or Jemappe, where it's lots and lots of National Guard, which are just god-awful quality. Here, however, there's a lot of good royal troops. For example, the French cavalry here is very good quality for the most part. And more importantly, there is a hell of a lot of it. You have things like the Royal Dauphine Chasseur, the French artillery, vicious, very vicious. And then most of it was sort of average infantry, but again, average is still better than the, quote, army you have in Jemappe or Neerwinden or anything like that. And then you've actually got good troops with the likes of the Grenadier battalions. So, I admit I partially underestimated them. But I think one big mistake is I fought this too much like the 7 Years' War. My army moved and fought too much like 7 Years' War and not a Revolutionary War army. So I think that was one of my fatal mistakes. Beyond the whole falling into the fatal mistake of pulling a Frederick the Great at Kolin moment. Still, I still hope you have enjoyed the series. If you have, please consider hitting that thumbs up, subscribing, or leaving a comment, especially a comment. Let me know how you think I could have fought this battle better, what I could have done better with, naturally, hindsight. Anything I've missed in the overview about where you think I went wrong and such, and all the other shenanigans. But until next time, I thank you for watching, and I will see you all very, very soon. So, bye-bye for now.